Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's session on Introduction to Microsoft 365 Portal. And we'll have a introductory session to the portal, and we'll discuss a bit about the basics that you need to be knowing. And today we have our guest or the speaker, who is Joshua, and he is a Microsoft certified trainer, and he will be helping us to understand the portal and explain everything to us. And he been with us in the last time as well. It was a great session, and today he is again with us. And yeah, before we get started into the session, I wanted to share a few things about the session that is happening. So this session is going to be recorded and will be available in our YouTube channel if you want to watch it again. And secondly, there is certificate of participation for those who stay till the end. At the end of session, you'll be able to fill out a form which I'll be sharing in the chat box, and it directly takes you to a form, and then you basically need to fill it out, and you get the certificate of participation in your email. That's the main two things. And if you want to participate in more sessions like these, if you want to be learning more about Microsoft Azure, Microsoft 365, please to join the community where we will have more sessions coming up. And I have already shared the link to join the community. Please to check the chat box. If not, I will share that one more time, and you can go ahead and join if you want to be getting notified when there is another session. Okay, with that, I have given my introduction on the webinar. So now it's time for Joshua to take over and to be getting started. Over to you, Joshua.
Okay. Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. It's good that we are here again today. I'm happy to be with you guys again today after a long while, and I trust everyone is doing okay. The last time we spoke about how to get the Microsoft 365 developers account, and then most of us were on the call, if I'm very much correct, and then we're able to get the Microsoft 365 developers account. So today we will dive deeply into the Microsoft 365 admin portal. I also showed you how to log into your Microsoft 365 admin portal the last time. So if you are not able to do that, we would quickly go through that today. So today, no much presentation. We will talk and then we'll do practicals, right? So today is much more for practicals, no much presentation, nothing like that. So thank you very much for having me once again. My name is Joshua. I am a Microsoft certified trainer. Okay, so before I display my admin portal, right, and then show you one or two things. Okay, Olayinka is saying he can't hear me. Can everyone confirm that they can also not hear me? Okay, thanks. So Olayinka, you need to check your audio. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so before I proceed to showing you the admin portal, right? I would like to quickly speak about um, Azure Active Directory, which is now being renamed to Microsoft Entra, right? And I don't know if I spoke the last time about Microsoft 365 identities being hosted on Microsoft Entra or Azure Active Directory. So basically, um, the Azure Active Directory tenant or the Microsoft 365, sorry, the or the Microsoft Entra tenant basically provides identity and access management capabilities to applications and resources that are used by organizations. So what are those applications? What are those resources? We're talking about Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Exchange Online. We're talking about SharePoint Online. We're talking about OneDrive for Business and other resources or Microsoft services, applications such as third-party software as a service or on-premise applications, or even custom applications that was developed and then integrated into the Microsoft 365, right? So that you can use either with your teams and other features, even plugins that can be added to your Microsoft Outlook. Yeah. So what Azure Active Directory or the Microsoft Entra does is to provide identity and access management capabilities to those applications and resources that are used by organization. So please take note of that. So I spoke about, or I said, provide identity and access management. What's an identity? Not okay, identity in the sphere of Azure Active Directory or Microsoft 365, right? So an identity basically is an object that can be authenticated and that can be authorized, right? An object that can be authenticated and authorized for access to any resource. So Microsoft Entra gives or provides identity capabilities to applications and resources, right? So that identity must be able to be authorized and then authenticated so that they can be able to access resources. So what are those identities? So some of us we are in organizations where our systems are kind of provisioned from an on-premise environment, right? So identity can be can be you humans, right? What do I mean by you humans? So you are a contact on the system or the organization where you work. So that's your identity. Some of us have identity cards that are used to badge in to the offices. So that's part of your identity. Identities can be humans. Identities can be computers. Identities can be applications, can be printers, can be anything that is stored, that can be used for authentication and authorization is an identity, right? And then identities basically are directory objects. They are directory objects. So the directory where those objects are stored, or basically, yeah, identity are directory objects that are stored in the directory of the organization. The object can be the IT department, can be the teachers, can be staff, can be computers, can be device, any kind of devices, can be parents, can be guidance, can be anything, right? So I just want to give us this context before we move purely into the 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 Microsoft 365 Admin Center, right? So um before I share my screen, so I was talking about identities, right? So this is what I was talking about. I don't know if you can see the screen. I was talking about Azure AD tenant boundaries, the resources, the basically the Microsoft services, the applications, and then the 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 object. Someone is saying no. Can you see my screen now? I have a picture on my. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, thanks. Okay, so um, talking more about objects and identities, right? In Microsoft 365, especially when it comes to Exchange Online, we have what we call recipient. Recipients basically are objects, or basically, yeah, they are objects, but they are mail enabled objects that can receive emails. Basically, as the name implies, recipient, they can receive emails. So but in Microsoft 365 we have types of recipients. Excuse me, we have types of recipients. We have the users, we have the resources, we have the groups, we have the collaboration. All this we are going to look at. I just want to give us a background so that when we start looking at them, we don't need to give more explanation about that, right? So for users, we have types of user recipients. We have the user mailboxes that are basically individual based. So for me, Joshua Adigun, I have a mailbox, joshua.adigun at um, mydomain.com. That is a user mailbox because it's only for me, right? However, we also have what we call shared mailbox that can be used by two or more persons, right? So that shared mailbox, as the name implies, is shared by two or more persons, just like a group mailbox, but it's not a group mailbox, it's a shared mailbox that you can't actually log into. Yeah. So you have to you have to be given permission or delegate permission to that shared mailbox, which is then attached to your own individual or user mailbox. So a shared mailbox cannot stand on its own. It is attached to a user mailbox. And then we have mail contact, we have mail users. So interestingly, right, mail contact and mail users are, 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 are types of user recipients that basically for mail contact, both of them actually contains information about people that are outside your organization, right? So, for example, in my own organization, um, Suraj is outside of my own organization. However, I want him to be a male contact in my organization. So I provision him on my in my organization as a contact, as a male contact. So it contains information about Suraj, even if even as he's from a different organization. However, for male user, it also contains information about Suraj. However, I create a credential for Suraj in my organization so that he can authenticate, right? And then he is authorized to access resources. We would look at all those. Then we have different resources. We have equipment mailboxes, we have room mailboxes. So basically, equipment are like the printers I mentioned or devices. So for big organizations where you have a central IT department and and or yes, and you have tools within the organization like projector, and then the finance department have a presentation within the finance department, and then the HR department also have a presentation, and every one of them wants to use the projector, right? So you can create an equipment mailbox so that every department would have to book for that equipment for a particular time slot, and then they are able to use that equipment at that time. So when the equipment is being used at that time, anybody that wants to book that equipment will see that that equipment is being used from so time to so time. The same thing with the room mailbox. So some of us are in organizations where we have 10, 15-story buildings, and then we have meeting rooms all over the places, right? And then for today, the HR wants to use the meeting room on the 12th floor, right? However, so they need to go and book for that meeting room ahead. So there are settings you need to make to book for those meeting rooms, and then the capacity of the meeting room. So so that when another person comes or a different department comes to book that room, they see that the room is already booked for a particular period of time, right? So we also have groups as distribution groups. We call it distro. So you just a group to kind of that is used to kind of disseminate information, information to every member, right? So depending on how your organization is structured, the CEO might want to send an email to everybody. So instead of typing an email and then adding everybody individually, a distribution group is created and everybody is added to that distribution group. An email is sent to that distribution group and everybody gets the email individually. So we also have mail enabled security groups. These are security groups. I would say like a private group, right? But yeah, private mail enabled security groups that except you are added, you can't have access to that security group. So every member of that security group gets the email that is sent to that group. And then we have dynamic distribution group. So the dynamic distribution group is kind of different from the distribution group in the sense that it uses certain properties, right? would see those properties while creating users. So for example, I'm with the technical department, Suraj is with the technical department. So immediately Suraj or my account is created and then my department is chosen as technical department, automatically I'm added to the technical department dynamic distribution group. And let's say, for example, I move up the ranks and I become a management staff, automatically, because my department or whatever property that is being set has changed, immediately I'm removed. Automatically, I'm removed from the technical department distribution group and added to the management distribution group. So this is done dynamically, as the name implies, right? So collaboration, that's where we use the Microsoft 365 groups. And if you remember the last time I said all these services are kind of interrelated. You create a Microsoft 365 group, it creates a Teams, a team in Teams, Microsoft Teams. It also creates a SharePoint site. So all these things are kind of all these services are interrelated. And then we have public folders that are Microsoft. I think Microsoft has disabled all those. So enough of the talking. I've spoken a lot. So let me share my screen and then we dive straight into the 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 practicals. So yes, if you don't know how to sign into your admin portal, you just need to open up a browser either in private mode, as you can see for mine here, or a new browser and then type in office.com. Then you sign in with the credentials you got when you created your Microsoft 365 developer account. And if you don't know how to get, if you are new to today's session, if you don't know how to get the Microsoft 365 developers account, you can go to the community's YouTube channel and then see how there's a video on how to do that, which we had the last time. So you can go through that process and then um, get the developer's account. So when you logged in, right, when you're logged in to your Microsoft 365 portal as an admin, right, you have the opportunity to see the admin pane here, right? So quickly, this is the app launcher here, and then this is the main page where, depending on your subscriptions, you have the ability to install the Office Microsoft 365 Office application, right? And then you have um, some quick insights here recommended. The system brings up some some documents that you have worked on recently or some things, and then shows a lot of things, quick access to some of these information, right? So, and then you also see on the side, you see some basic, no, not basic actually, some other applications like Outlook, Teams, Word, Excel. So you can click on this to view more apps, right? Yeah, you can click on this to view more apps, or you can also click on the app launcher to see more apps. You see other apps that comes with the subscription you have. You can click on explore all apps. It opens a new page to show you all apps, all the apps um, that comes with the subscription you have. So depending on the subscription you have, these are the apps you see. So for productivity, I can see all these. So these are the apps that I use for productivity. For utility, I can see these ones. For education, I can see these ones. For communication, I should see these ones. Content management, yeah. Project management, developer tools, employee experience. So yeah. So I don't know if you are aware, Microsoft is kind of leading. Yeah, and I'll be biased again today. Microsoft is kind of leading in the productivity business worldwide, right? So yeah, if it comes to productivity, give it to Microsoft. You have a lot of tools to carry out your product, to make your job productive, to make your organization, whatever it is, optimally productive, basically. So next, you click on admin. So this is where the magic happens, right? So I would say I've done a training on other cloud providers. However, I would say maybe because Microsoft was the first thing I learned, so it's kind of easy and easy to navigate and easy to use. So this is the almighty Microsoft 365 back end, I would say, admin, where the magic happens, whether for any of the services, basically, this is where everything happens, right? So you can only see this. So for some of you that works with organizations, right, or you got your Microsoft 365 subscription via a partner, I know of GoDaddy that you can't see the admin portal like this. You have to go through GoDaddy, except I can't remember, except you pay a certain amount to for you to be able to have access. But if you got it directly from Microsoft, you should be able to see this. So you have the menu on the left vertically. They are here. Let me close this. Let me close this. Let me open this again. I want to do something. I want to show you something. So when you click on admin, this is how it opens up, right? So for you to see more, you need to click on show all. So this is where you see the user administration is carried out. This is the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So you can do a lot of things here, a lot. And then if you want to then carry out configurations based on specific services or specific services or technologies, then you then come to the admin center of that service you want to um, for that configure. As you can see, you see the exchange here, you see the identity, you see identity redirects you back to, as you can see at the bottom, just look at the bottom here, you would see the URL. Identity redirects you back to Entra. Remember what I spoke about, I said about identity earlier, right? So, and then you have endpoint manager, you have compliance. This is where you carry out compliance settings, configurations, security, both inbound and outbound resources, right? This is where everything is carried out, the Microsoft Teams, and then you can click on all admin centers, right? We would look at this, maybe not today, but so this is the almighty admin Microsoft 365 admin center. So starting with users, quickly, you click on users, right? And then you click on active users. This is where you create users in your organization. So there are admin roles like the user administration where you can assign to a user and the user is only able to perform user administration. Yeah. So we would look at that also. But yeah, this is where you're able to create your user. So we have 3 or 4 methods of creating users, right? I'll show you everything now. So first is just to click on add user. This is the first and simple way. I would say Suraj. Yeah, Suraj. And then his play name is chosen automatically. This is the name you see, right? For example, yeah, this is the name this is the display name. This is what it's showing here, right? And then for the username, I say Suraj at my domain. So if I have a custom domain added to my tenant, it gets listed here. I can pick, if I have 100 domains, all of them get listed here, and then I pick any one I want. However, I've not added a custom domain, so I'll choose the one that comes. So this is the default that comes while I was trying to provision this developer's account. So no matter the kind of account you're trying to get, whether a developer's account or a business account, we have what we call the default on Microsoft.com domain that comes with every Microsoft 365 tenant, right? Recently, Microsoft gave the opportunity to be able to add some other Microsoft domains. So as you can see, what this contains is it contains my domain name here plus on Microsoft.com. This was the name that was added while I was trying to create the account. However, I could decide to change it to I can decide to add my custom domain joshua.adigun or joshuaadigun at joshuaadigun.com. Sorry, at joshuaadigun.com, right? So, and then if I'm creating any user, I am able to pick the at adigun or joshuaadigun.com, right? So I could decide to say create automatic email for this user, and then this is always important, right? So for example, I decide to create a password for this user. I have to check this so that this user is able to change their password when they first sign in, right? This is very important so that this is privacy. Microsoft upholds privacy 100%. So yes, you are the admin. However, you shouldn't have access to users' password. So, and then I can send password and in email completion to the user. I can say suraj@gmail.com. I can decide to add another one. Say suraj@joshua.com. So you have to use the semicolon here, right, to add more. I can decide to do that, but so I don't want this. I uncheck this. I just create a password and say, mm, right. So if the password is not strong, right, it won't allow you go. Let me just type anything here. So can you see? It says the password isn't strong enough. So you need to follow the password um, guide here. So the password must be between 8 and 256 characters, and then it has to have a combination of at least uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols, right? So you need to take note of that. If not, you'll spend time here trying to create a password. So I click on next. So this is where I select a location for the user. Yeah, my Microsoft 365 tenant was gotten in the US. The data location is the US. However, I can decide to set a location for this particular user and say um, India. And then this is where I have to also set the subscription. Yeah, I need to give this user a license. However, I could create this user without a license, and then I can still proceed and then go back later to assign this user a license, right? So, but this for now, I would create this user with a license, and then as you can see, it shows me I have 7 available licenses. I check this and it reduces to 6. So if you don't know about license subscription, I think one of the videos we did earlier, we spoke about that, so you can also watch that. So immediately I select the Microsoft 365 E5 developer. As you can see the apps, it shows me the apps that are associated with this subscription. So if I uncheck this, this means that yes, this guy has a subscription. However, he can't use anything Exchange, emails, calendaring, everything. You can't use that, right? I can also decide to say I don't want this user to use SharePoint. Yeah, I don't want this user to use SharePoint. I don't want this user to use Teams. I don't want this user to use SharePoint. I can uncheck all this. And then this user is not able to use Teams, SharePoint, and Exchange. Yeah, but I don't want that. So I want this user to be able to use everything here. And then quickly, I click on next. So this is where the roles of the user is set. I don't want Suraj to be an admin on my portal. However, if I want Suraj to be an admin, I can decide to give Suraj Exchange admin. This means that Suraj is only able to perform Exchange administration, Exchange configuration, anything outside Exchange. Suraj do not have the jurisdiction to do anything outside Exchange, right? I can decide to say, okay, I want to give Suraj SharePoint admin or help desk or service and if I give them any of these, right? Can you see the user administration I was talking about earlier? So this user is able to perform only the selected um, role I give to him or her. However, if I select global admin, it means that this user can have a combination of all these roles, can do anything, can do and undo. Yeah, so you need to be very careful because you will have situations where an account was hacked. So for a tenant, for a Microsoft 365 tenant to be hacked, it means the unauthorized user have access to an admin account. So first thing you need to do is to reset the password, enable multi-factor authentication and all those, right? So you need to be very careful with who and who you give admin access to. So I don't want to give admin access to Suraj. Suraj, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll give you a user, just a user on this tenant. So this is where I was talking about that that the dynamic distribution properties kind of pick from here, and then I also show you in the Entra portal also. So you can set the job title and say um, principal consultant, department, recruitment, and then office. I can add all those things, and then country location. I can also add that to Australia, right? And I click on next. So I have the page where I review that everything is correct. If I'm not satisfied, I can click on edit to go back to any of these pages. You have 4 stages here, right? And then I click on finish. So let's see. This user now is created on my tenant, right? So if I go back here and I click on refresh, I should be able to see Suraj. So this is Suraj with a license. Yeah. So the second method is to use a template to create users. I can use a template, right? I can click on manage template to see my templates. I'm not sure I have any. Yeah, I don't have any. So let's go back then. So I can use user template. I click on user template. I click on add a template. And I say, okay, I want to create a template for community, right? And then I just copy this. I can give more explanation here. Community members, and then make this. I can try to publish this template immediately, or I can try to say, okay, I don't want other users or other admins to be able to use this template. So for me, I want other admins. So I click on next, and then I select the domain. I say automatically create generate password for them, require them to change their password. I click on next, and then I decide to give them, I give them this, right? I give them this particular subscription, and then I click on next. And then here, the roles, I want them to all be users. If I need to give them an admin role, I come back, and then job title, community members, department, community outreach. Okay, so I click on next. I review, I click on finish. So how can I use this? All right, I've created a template. So all I need to do is come back here to users and then click on community, right? It brings up a community template, and then I add, I say Su Raj. Yeah, Raj. Display name Su.Raj. And then community, everything is set. Yeah, and then yeah, this is selected. And then click on create, add user. Okay, so we are unable to create this user. Let me refresh my browser. Yeah, quickly again. Um, community. Suraj. dot Raj. Yeah, on this. Yes, go ahead. Okay, this user is now created. So let's come back down here. So Suraj is created. Can you see? I click on Suraj. Yeah. And then Suraj automatically is created as without an admin rule, just a normal user, right? And then for the license, right? Suraj automatically is given this. And then for the contact information, you see that Suraj, the committee title is given as committee member, the department is this. Yeah. So that's another method of creating users. So you can create templates for each department in your organization, and then it's very, very easy instead of you filling out all the other information part. So if the office for the office phone for HR is different, you put it here in a template and then set everything. So the third one is adding multiple users. So you can add multiple users from here, up to 249 users from here. You can add them and say, let me see, um, John. Let me use John's name. John, Daniel, username John, Daniel, and then I choose my domain name. I can decide to add more. I say Johnson Jacob, Johnson Jacob, John Johnson dot Jacob. So depending on your organization's naming convention, right? So it can be first name dot last name, it can be last name dot first name, then it can be the initials of your first name and your last name. It can be something like this: J Jacob. Is what I meant. Is what I mean by the initial of your first name and last name. It can be maybe Johnson J, right? So it depends on what you want. So you can add as many as possible here, and then you can click on next. However, I can decide to say I don't want to use this method, right? I want to upload a CSV file, and then I download a CSV. Let me download this, an example, very easier for me. I'm opening it. So yes, I have a format here. So all you need to do is just to follow this format. So I want to create John Eric and say username John. Sorry. All right. Please don't do that. Say John dot Eric at my domain name is 7m3t2t.microsoft.com, and then say John Eric John Eric information. I can decide to leave all this. Alternative, I don't want anything here. Yes, I can decide to leave every other thing like this, and then I click on save. So let's go back. I close this. I'm supposed to show that. Okay, so I come back here and then I click on browse. So I select this and then click on open. If there are errors, it will tell me. Can you see it validating? If there are errors, it will show me. For example, let's go back and say I for this username here, I put 3 here and then I save. and then I come back here to choose this account, this CSV again. Can you see? The file you uploaded has one or more errors. So if I click on view errors, email address domain contains extra or invalid characters. So it points you to where the error is. So I go back here and then I correct this and then I save. I select this again and then I should be good to go. Yeah. Yeah. And then I click on next. Licenses. I don't want to create these users with licenses. So maybe I give them just let me create them without a license and then I click on next. So who can tell me why we can see 3 users here? Right? So the reason is because here, remember I added 2 users here at the top here and I added 1 user from the CSV. That's why you can see 3 users. Yeah, so let's click on add users. They should be added. Cool. So 3 of them have been added. So if I come back here, I click on refresh, I should be able to see, I think all of them have JJ, John Daniel, John Eric, and Johnson, 3 of them without licenses. So I can decide to click here on one of them, come to licenses, and then I select this. Immediately before I do this, come here. Can you see this user does not have exchange license, so it does not have a mailbox. But immediately I give this user this license, yeah, I click on save changes, something happens because the apps have exchange online plan 2, either plan one or plan 2. So plan 1 has gives you the ability, gives you 50 gig mailbox. Plan 2 gives you 100 gig mailbox. So maybe I come back here, right? I click on refresh. So we are preparing a mailbox for this user because this user now has an exchange online license assigned. Okay, so that's the third method. The fourth method is to go through, let me come here, portal. I like using the portal.azure.com. I like using the Azure Active Directory. I could decide to say, come here to identity, entra.microsoft.com. Let me come back here, entra.microsoft.com. Yeah, so I click on view here. So this takes me to the Entra portal. So here I come to users. All the users I have created, can you see all of them? John, Jerry, everybody, Suraj. So this is where the identities are hosted. This is where they are giving authorization and authentication capabilities, right, to applications and resources. This is the almighty Azure Active Directory. So Azure Active Directory, like I said in one of the sessions, is different from Active Directory. Azure Active Directory is the identity management system for Microsoft 365 cloud computing, but Active Directory is for your on-premise or on-premise. Yeah. So I can add new user from here. I can invite an external user. I can create a new user. So let's create one more user from here. Let's say Ken. So I just create Ken. So here you see the process of creating a user from here is just you add the UPN, user principal name, as the email address, and then you add a display name Ken. Yeah, automatically generate password. Yeah, okay. And then properties. I don't want to add all these. Yeah, I can try to add them. If you want to add them, and then I click on create. So this user is created. Ken, where's Ken? G K K I J K I J K. So Ken should be here. Yes, he can here. Ken is created here. So this is from the Azure portal, right? I can come back here to Entra and do the same thing. All users. And then new user, the same method, right? So it's just the same thing. Instead of doing that again, just the same thing. Click on new user, and then you have the same thing, right? So let's go back to Microsoft 365 admin portal. Let's refresh. So we should be able to see Ken. Can you see Ken? Ken is listed here. So the last one is, let's do a little bit of PowerShell. Let me see. It's PowerShell. So if you're using PowerShell, you need to be very, very careful when you're using PowerShell. Very, very careful. So I have some codes here I've written. So I will run some things. You might have or encounter issues while running some of them. So you'd have to troubleshoot that. So yeah, I'll start from here. I have a comment here, create user. So let's start here. I will run it line by line. This is to run selection. This is to run all the script. If I run this, I should get an error. I should get an error. Okay. Um, let me not run everything. Let me not run everything. Let me just cancel. So let's just go quickly. We've spent much time. So I install, first you need to install the Azure AD module, right? Then I need to import that module that's just installed. And then I need to connect. If you remember, let me quickly show you something. When I come here and I click, just look at, I want you to look at the URL here. So when I click on Exchange, just watch, you would see logging in. Can you see logging in? Let me cancel it again. Let me click on SharePoint. Just watch, you see logging in. Logging in, can you see? It's logging in, right? So it's the same process here. So you need to log in to that particular module by connecting to it, right? I connect to it. I have, when I'm doing anything PowerShell, I need to sign in with the admin credential, right? So, and please, if you are not conversant with PowerShell, anything you do, if you use it to delete, it's totally deleted. You can't recover them. So you need to be very, very careful if you don't know how to use PowerShell, right? So I think it's 7m3t2t dot on Microsoft.com. So I like using the PowerShell ISE, so I can already save my codes, right? I don't have to always go back to Microsoft documentation. So I have people that know these codes like without checking any documentation, right? If you're like that, that's very good. But yeah, I'm not saying you must, even during interviews, you must not know these codes like off the book before you can. As long as you can research and get this script, you're good to go. So next, I've been able to connect to Azure. Remember, that's where the identity is. So now I want to connect to Microsoft Online, right? I'll first install it also. This is my own method, so it might be different for you. If you are conversant with this, and then I import it, you see the version is available. So I connect to it again. Um, 7m3t2t dot on Microsoft.com. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can still hear me. I can't see your thumbs up. So Suraj, if you can still hear me, just say hi. Um, okay, thank you, Rosemary. All right, thank you. Okay, so I've connected to the MSO service. So now, right, I want to create a user without a license. So new MSO user, display name. Let me use Rosemary. Rosemary said hi. So Rose, last name Mary. Sorry, display name is Rosemary. Mary. And then first name is Rose Mary. So here I have, this is the script you need to use to create a user without a license, right? Display name, you add the name here, and then first name. As you can see, there is hyphen. There is a name we call this piping. You know, this is not piping. No, this is not piping. So basically, this is kind of indicating that you need to input the first name here, the last name, and then user principal name, which is the email address, would say rose.mary, right? However, if I want to create a user with a license, I need to know the SKU, right? The license. I need to know this. So let me do something. Save this. Let me get SKU to see the kind of license I have. So this is my license. As you can see, this is my license here, the 25 pack. So you don't just go and say I have a subscription here. I have a subscription here and say I have Microsoft 365 developer, yeah, E5 developer, and then just copy this name and write in the PowerShell. No, it's very, very different. So you need to use this the way it is here before it works or it can work, right? So I create, let's see, I've logged in. Let's create Rosemary. So unable to create this user. It's not a valid domain. Okay, so it's not a valid domain. That's why the domain I logged in with is not this one. So I need to use the 7M3T2T, right? So let's see. So this user is created. So when we come back here to active users, we are able to see this user, Rosemary. Yeah, let's refresh. Rosemary. Can you see Rosemary here without a license? Right? So let's come back here and say we want to create, let's see. Gideon Ilya. Okay. Gideon, I believe Gideon is from the north, from northern Nigeria. So as you can see, I'll use a different method here. Gideon Ilya. Right? So here I'm adding them, I'm putting it inside quotes, right? So and then I put Gideon here. Ilya. So I say, let me copy this. Let's do this. Gideon, Ilya, and then the SKU now is different. So let me see. I just pray I don't get an error. Yeah. Let me paste it here. Okay, so let's run this. Oh, okay, so I know I'm gonna get an error. First name. So this particular error is not giving me it's not giving me what the issue is, but I know that the issue is with the license, right? So I would figure that out later. The reason I'm saying so the license is because I created one without a license. So yeah, So let me try something. Oh shit, sorry. Let's create again. I should get the same error. Yeah, so definitely it's with the license. So I'll look at that later. So this is how, these are the five methods you can use to create um, users in your Microsoft 365 tenant. Sorry, I didn't want to troubleshoot the last part because we've spent 1 hour 25 minutes already. Yeah. And then we have other things to quickly talk about also. So you can delete a user, right? You can delete a user. You can click on delete and then select the users you want to delete, or you can select all and then delete everything. So let's say we want to delete um, John. Let's click select. Team is progress. Delete. I just want it to get deleted. So when this user is deleted, right? This user is in the deleted folder for, I think, 30 days. After 30 days, everything that is associated with that user, the mailbox, the SharePoint, the OneDrive, everything is deleted. So if I come here, I should see the user here, and then I can restore within 30 days, right? And then click restore user. Auto generates. This user is restored. And then I can decide to say I want to change password for a particular user, right? All I need to do is select that user and then click on reset password. Or I can select everything and then reset password for everybody. I click on reset password for everybody. But it says you can reset password for, you can only reset your own password individually. Yeah. So if I remove myself, because as an admin, I can't reset my own password. Another admin has to reset my own password. Where is it, Joshua? So let me try again. So yeah, and I'm able to reset password for everybody. I can decide to say I want to reset password individually, right? And then click on this user. And then also I click on reset password from here. Those are the methods you can use to reset password. Right, let me check if I can do that here. Uh, mm, Click on this user. Yeah, I can reset password from the Azure or the Entra portal also. Click on reset password, follow the prompt, and then reset password for this user. Yeah, then I can come here to click on more things. I can see change view, I can see directory synchronization. So basically, the team setup is status is it shows that Teams is set up for it's showing if Teams is set up for certain users in the organization, especially for those that have licenses. Yeah, so Teams is set up, meaning they can use Teams. However, right? For the directory synchronization, this actually deals with or talks about synchronizing between your Microsoft 365 Azure Active Directory and Active Directory. So you might have an on-premise or on-premise environment, and you want to synchronize some users to Microsoft 365. You can do that. So you have a hybrid situation, right? You can do all that and then set up um, but mainly, as you can see, there is a team that also assists with this, the fast track team. These guys are always good. Yeah, they're very good. So you can do that. And then the next is, okay, you can export your users, export them to CSV, and then you have all your users exported, and then you can carry out any change and then import them the way we did earlier, and the changes take effect. You can decide to say you want to change the whole mobile numbers, the licenses, the password, and everything. So you can do that and then you upload them. Yeah. And then the next one for active user is multi-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. Right. I hope I'm not boring you guys with my too much talk. You know, it's a lot. Yeah, so I hope I'm not boring you guys. So I'll be done very, very soon. Apologies. Okay. All right. So you can carry out. So Microsoft have changed the way they do them. They configure, or the way multi-factor authentication is being configured, right? And then you when you come here, you have to, let me duplicate this page. You come here, you click on Get Started, and then you go through the process of setting up and enforcing the multi-factor authentication for your environment, right? You check all this out and then you click on next. You need to read all those, yeah, and you can then decide to select the severity, if it's high, medium, low, and then you can decide to check to say, okay, I want the one-time password to be sent via SMS, or I can check both. If I don't get SMS, I can receive a call, and then I click on next, and then this is where you can also use conditional access to set up MFA for your tenant, right? And then I click on next to review and finish um, to review and then click on save configuration, right? So if some of your users are still using the legacy um, applications such as Outlook, yeah, immediately you set this up, they will start getting the prompt to input their password, and that can be very annoying. So for such scenarios, you have to create what we call app password for them, so that when they input that password for that app, the password is catched, and then they don't have to be inputting a password every time. Sometimes for some users, every 1 minute the dialog box prompts up for you to input your password, and it can be very annoying. So for me, I would not want to do this, because some persons, depending on your organization and depending on the approval you get, this can irritate some people actually, but it's for your own good. Microsoft has moved away from the basic authentication, which uses just your password and then your username. You've moved to what we call a modern authentication, and even two-step or the multi-factor authentication, right? So I mentioned modern authentication. You should be able to see that here. Mm, yep, is it here? Yes, here. Yeah, modern authentication. Yeah, that uses a second step also, right? Um, Modern authentication uses an application, and then multi-factor uses an identity. Yeah, mixing both up, right? Um, yeah, basically. And then I prefer to use the legacy, which definitely would be deprecated very soon by Microsoft, where I click on legacy. So this, you can do it on individual basis, right? You don't have to set up everything for the organization. This you can do it on individual basis, and then you can select, I can decide to click on John and then say enable. Before I enable, I click on manage user settings. So I require users to provide contact method again. I delete all app passwords, and then I restore multi-factor authentication on all remembered devices. I click on save, just to clear whatsoever that was there before. Yeah, update successful. I come back here, I click on enable. I can click on the guide to see more, and then I can click on aka.ms.mfa. If you don't remember, sometimes you don't remember this URL, you can use this to also set it up. Yeah, but I need to log in. So let's continue. Click on enable multi-factor authentication. Okay, jeez. All right, so I need to go back. Sorry for that. John, where are you? Was it John Daniels or John Eric? Okay, update successful. So if I come back to John Eric, I can see that MFA is enabled because I can see this disabled. So for it to take effect immediately, I click on enforce. And immediately this user tries to sign in, he or she is prompted to provide or to register for MFA. So let me quickly do something. Let me open up a browser in private mode here, and then we are done. We are almost done. Apologies. Okay, was it John.Eric? Sorry, John.Eric. Okay, just want to show you that John.Eric at 7m3t2t.microsoft.com. Okay, on Microsoft John Eric 7m. How about it? John Eric. Sorry, I think I made a mistake. Let me just come here. John Eric. Okay, I'm here. John Eric. Okay. And then, oh God, I need to remember the password. Reset password. Okay, good to go. All right, so I come here. All right, so this is where, as you can see, your organization needs more information to keep your account secure. Click on next. So I need to register for multi-factor authentication. As you can see, it's taking me back to Azure Active Directory. Now it's taking me to my sign-ins. So I need to set this up. Yeah, so this is it. I can either decide to use the Microsoft Authenticator app, or I can decide to use a different method and say phone instead. Click on confirm. I add my phone number, and then I proceed next, 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 and I'm done, right? So that's how to enable multi-factor authentication for each user. If you recall very, very well, I selected, let's do for this, I selected delete all this, right? And then require the user to provide contact method again. That's why that is showing up. So even if you have it set up before, if you select this to clear the airways, that process needs to be you need to go through this process again. So I think that would be all for reset users. Yeah, active users. So I can also do manage product licenses, right? Okay, so this is showing up because I selected this user. So if I uncheck this, I think I'm done with all the menus here. So we've spoken about deleted. Okay, this is groups. Sorry, users. Yeah. So I spoke about a password. Let me quickly show you something. Quickly, where you can create a password from. Click on security info, and then a page should come up. Okay, I can't sign into this. This phone is not available, so I can't use that. So I wanted to show you how to create. Let me use. Oh shit! I've closed this. Um, Let me use another account. Adelv at 7M3T2. Okay, I need to provide this for this user again. So I think for all my accounts, it's requesting for it's requesting for 2FA. That would take my time because some of the numbers I used during experiment are not with me. So apologies, please. Use this user. I hope this user doesn't have um, that. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, John Daniel. Okay, thank you, Microsoft. Thank you. I've seen all these. Come to view account. Okay, nice. So talk about this some other time, but you do a lot of things here. 42 minutes. Okay, so I can add a sign-in method here. I can add authenticator, I can add phone for MFA, I can do all that, right? And then register. I can also change it at any time. But this, I think this is what I want to show you. Okay, so for me to be able to use app password, I must have MFA. So I can't show you. Yeah, I can't show you. I can't show you. I can't show you. I can't show you. So do that some other time. So quickly contact. I spoke about mail contact and mail user earlier. And add a contact here. Then this can just be a contact in your organization, right? So this contact is different from the mail contact I spoke about and then mail user. So just pretty straightforward. A contact in your organization can be maybe a chairman, maybe board of directors that don't really use the account for sending of emails or for anything. Basically, just having their contact on the tenant, right? Chairmo, chairmo, chair. Let's see. Should be able to add it. But one thing you should also know that I am able to add this user here, right? This contact here. But I said earlier that this contact is different. Yeah, not really. I take that back. So you can your mail users are also added here. No, your mail users or mail contact now are also added here, right? So just to confirm that, bear with me. Let me quickly confirm that for my exchange. Um, so contact. So mail user, mail contact. Okay, so if I come back here, so this is my mail contact. Yeah, is my mail contact. I spoke about mail users and the way you create them are different. You have whatever, you can send them email and then they also appear here. They also appear here. SO here. So this is a mail user, has a credential in my organization. So we'll talk about that more. So I would say guest user, you can invite a guest user to your organization. You can add a guest. You just want them to collaborate on maybe you're working on a particular project and you just want them to collaborate or have access to certain resources. So you can add them. So this redirects you to the Azure or the Entra portal, and then you add this user. Let's say test at gmail.com. See test. Right. So let's invite. So this user should get an invitation in his or her email, right? That you have been invited into this organization. So click on the link and then should be good to go so that the user is invited already. So but that user is not, right? It's not a real user. So I don't have access to that email I used. Yeah. So the user is added here as a guest user. So once the user clicks on that link, the user is able to access whatever resources they want them to be able to access. And then we've spoken about deleted users. If you delete any user, you can recover them within the first 30 days. Else that user is permanently deleted. So I'll stop here for today. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So over to you, Suraj.
Thank you, Joshua, for the session. I hope he was able to, give you a brief about it. It was, we did had some issues, but I think it was in the end was a great session. And yeah, so I have shared the link to join the community, and I am now going to share the certificate of participation link to everyone to get it. Okay, that's basically it. I think we are good for the day. And I'm guessing, oh, you have told me that there's a part two as well, right? Which we discussed.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, there
you
is.
uh, yes. So I that will be happening on December 2nd. So please
Second,
to
yeah.
join the community so that you can participate in that as well, where Joshua will be there with me. Okay, that's it for the day. And the recording of the session will be shared shortly in the YouTube channel, and I shared that link as well. And someone's that and yeah, thank you, Joshua, for taking your time to join with us and share your knowledge with everybody here. And we are really grateful for that and to be having you with us. Looking forward to the next session as well. And everyone who had joined us, thank you for taking your time to be learning something new. And I hope you will learn more from the community. So be sure to be in the community as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to me. Thank you, Suraj, for having me. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.